Okay, as we're waiting, I'm sure, here's the reminder that you all knew was coming. We know what a program of excellence looks like. We know what a successful day looks like. So let's make sure that you are contributing your role. We're all in the boat, we're all in the ship, we're all going to the same destination. Pick up your paddle and row. Do the work that needs to be done. Make sure that we have a successful day today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So, this is really good. You guys have put together, I think, mentioned a lot of the things that we talked about. And so, our first group here, Sugar Bush. Who wrote that? No, which group? All right. So, what is a sugar bush? Yeah. So, anyone can remember?
It's a group of trees like that, so primarily
Yeah. Yeah, so I think of the sugar bush, it's the forest, right? It's the forest where we make maple syrup. And so my forest, I think of as like my garden, and the sap is like what I'm harvesting, right? So the sugar bush is just the term that we've used over time, especially because a sugar bush tends to have a different makeup than just maybe the forest in your backyard, because it's been managed to harvest sap over time. You guys have been seeing is it Mr. Duflo or yeah, over at Tin Mountain, and I'm sure that you've been looking at different forests, right? Have you guys looked at different types of forests?
Not our 8th grade year, yes.
Oh,
8th graders have.
8th graders have. Okay, so essentially, different types of forests, depending on how old they are, or the species that are in them, may look different. And a sugar bush just tends to have been managed so that you can have more maples. Okay, more sugar maples, more red maples, sometimes more silver maples. It depends. So that's all it is. We said it's important to the forest with sugar maples in it. Of course, right? Good job, you guys. That's perfect. All right. Anything else you guys learned about the sugar bush that you wanted to share? Any questions about it? Have you guys all heard that term before? Yeah? All right. Main topic, growing conditions. Who shared this one? All right. So share with us a little bit about that.
So that's like what growing temperatures you want, what months, best like areas to do it in, best trees, all that.
Okay. So so this says so you can get the best amount of sap. That was your reason, right? What did we say were some of the important things for harvesting sap? So what kinds of growing conditions?
Very moist soil, lots of nutrients.
Yeah, right? So the more richer soil and more water you have available, what do your trees need? They need some of those things. What else do they need around them?
Yeah, the sun.
Yeah, they need right? So a lot of times we'll make sure that our sugar maple trees have a little bit of space around them so that they can have good access to the sun. One of the things we're going to look at when we go outside today is how healthy does this tree look, okay? And one of the ways you can tell how healthy a tree is based off of how big its crown is. So that's how many branches are coming out. And think about today. What do the trees look like today outside? What's going on with the trees and the weather today? Yeah. They're all covered in ice. What do you think that does to the tree?
Weighs them down.
Yeah, it weighs them down. Can it cause damage to the tree? Yeah, ice storms are notorious for being actually, even though they're very beautiful, they really can be quite hard on trees. You can lose branches and things like that. In last class we talked a little bit about how then the tree has to try to heal itself, right? Then it becomes open to fungus or disease or insects and things like that. So, yeah. All right. Growing conditions, season. I think we have season down here, so we're going to go into that a little bit more. How about tree anatomy? That's a great term. Yeah, did you guys put down tree anatomy? Okay. What do you want to share about tree anatomy? I know there's only a couple of you here that day, but what do you know about tree anatomy and how it relates to maple sugaring or collecting sap or anything like that?
It's important to know the tree anatomy because you want to know like how the tree works and ultimately how the tree works.
Yeah, right, we need to know how the different functions of the different parts of the tree, okay? So this says to understand how sap is made, right? So that's some of the things that you guys are going to be looking at are different variables. How do they impact the tree? Well, we know, well, we're looking at the amount of water availability. If we don't know how the tree uses water, what does it matter that we know how much water it's getting? We need to know how the tree does some of those things. So, in terms of tree anatomy, who can tell me a little bit more detail? I know I've seen some really good notes out there. And someone could share something they know, someone could come up and draw something on the board if they want to. Who could share something about how a tree works, how sap is made, how pressure changes inside the tree?
So like the chemical hormone, I don't know what you call it, but the xylem boosts the sap.
Okay. Okay, good. We had one word, right? That was someone I think wrote xylem here. They wanted to write this is part of our tree anatomy. And you're right, the xylem is a piece of the tree here that does transport water and nutrients. Alright? So I'm going to give you guys, who remembers, so this is a little bit misleading, but we'll go with the general, how we have sometimes sap moving down and sap moving up. Right, up from the roots and down from the leaves. Sometimes we think about that. Who remembers which xylem is? Think about it for a second. You remember which it is. Just guessing? Okay. See, anyone else want to say? You think you know? Are you raising your hand? Yep.
Xylem brings water up the tree.
Yeah. Okay. So xylem we have over here. Let's just use is what's bringing water and nutrients up. Okay. So a lot of times we kind of picture like the tree having straws or something on the inside of it. Essentially, if you have a whole bunch of cells inside the tree, okay, that become they're not living on the inside, not like our cells would be, okay? And they become just a container that work in some ways like a straw would, where the water adheres to the side. You know how you can pull water up with a little bit of vacuum by sucking on a straw? Same idea here in the tree, except for the tree loses water through its leaves, right? It evaporates out of its leaves, so there's a pull on the water and nutrients up from the roots. Okay, so this is kind of generalizing because water moves all nutrients and sap moves all through the tree. But generally speaking, we think of the xylem as where there's this upward motion, okay, from the roots. Now, how about the other one that starts with the B? I have one back here. Okay.
The phloem.
The phloem, okay? Anyone remember how to spell that?
What kind of Wednesday is it today?
No, go ahead, sorry. I didn't Now, even though it's not spelled with a F, I always think of phloem flows down. That's how I remember, okay? So that's our easy thing. So we have our xylem with stuff flowing up and our phloem with stuff flowing down. Now, something that's flowing down from the leaf area would be carrying what? What do the leaves make? Okay. So, do you know what this word is? You guys know what this word is?
Photosynthesis.
What does it mean? A hard one. So it's a process by which plants make their own what? Exactly. Exactly. Right? They're making their own food. They're making, what's their food?
Their natural sugars that they're making.
Yeah. Their food that they're making is sugars. Okay? And so when we think about something flowing down from the leaves, it's usually they're transporting sugars that has been made through photosynthesis in leaves. So, good. That's kind of the basics. The one thing I want you guys to know is that's kind of that there's other ways in which water and sap and nutrients move around in the tree. And some of it is just seeping, like through osmosis or other things. It seeps from one cell to another. Sometimes there are these things that are called rays, so where the sap actually moves horizontally in the tree, and it looks like a little bit more of a highway for the sap to move. So don't think of it as that there's only these two things happening inside the tree. The water does move all around, but there are these two general pulling kind of mechanisms inside the tree. And you guys got it. You guys got the xylem and the phloem, and I'll write it normally in case you can't read it sideways. As you can tell, my notes were probably never as good as you guys' are in school. Okay. Awesome. Tree anatomy. Was there anything else? So, in terms of your project, in terms of you guys going out to tap your trees this spring, all right, why do you think, what did we talk about in terms of what's happening in the tree once you tap it? What are we concerned with in terms of why aren't we just going out and tapping the trees today? What is the tree going to start to do as soon as we drill into it that we learned a little bit about?
It's gonna start to close up.
Yeah, it's going to start to heal itself, right? It's going to say, uh-oh, like, it's pretty amazing. So people who are here will remember if we cut into the side of a tree here, so this is like our tree bark, right? And we have our little tap hole that we drill in about 1 inch. The tree, so you have this non-living area here, but then you have the living area. It'll start to compartmentalize around that wound. And it does this naturally, okay, if it's getting attacked by maybe a bark beetle or something like that. But it does it to us too when we tap it. And so if we tap it too early, it'll start to heal itself, right, as bacteria and other things get inside the tree. And then we'll get less sap. So it's kind of that balance of timing of when we want to tap it just at the right time. All right, so who gave us this one? Yeah.
So we thought that the temperature was very important for making food sap.
Yeah, right, we looked at temperatures, we tried to discover when we would have tapped less even. And why did you guys pick these two temperatures? Do you remember? I know it's because I said them, but do you remember why those temperatures matter? Anybody remember? It's okay to guess if you're not sure. This is just kind of like a review. Yeah.
It's like that's the range for the, because above 40 degrees the enzymes stop working.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly it. So essentially what's happening inside the plant, okay, is that it's getting ready to bud out. So the enzymes in which they're making their sap here, it totally changes inside the tree. The biology changes of what's going on at 40 degrees. Now how come then it has to go to 20 degrees at night? Does anyone remember why it's got to get cold and then warm up? Why that fluctuation matters between cold nights and warm days?
So I would use something guess.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe so it would help the sap move throughout the tree.
For a long time, well, the answer is yes. Okay, it does. It helps if there's something that happens with a change in temperature that helps sap move within a tree. But for a long time, people thought that the sap, what would happen is that it would go down into the roots, and it was cold, and then it was warm, and it would get drawn up the tree. But then scientists have discovered that it's different. What actually happens? Do you remember?
I think it was the xylem tubes. They freeze and sort of expand, and then once it warms up, it contracts together, and that's called the water into the tree.
You have the right idea. The one thing that's different, because we're used to thinking about water when it freezes and expands, is thinking about the gas inside the tree. So there's gas inside the tree just as well as the water. So the water, the sap, it does freeze, you're right. But what happens is that there's gas inside the tree, and it actually compresses, okay? So it gets smaller, more dense when it's cold at night. And then when it's warm, the gas expands, right? Think about boiling water on the stove. You get the water vapor, right, that's coming off of your boiling water. That's gas expanding. So as it gets warm during the day, gas inside the tree expands, but there's nowhere for it to go, right? It's in this contained area, except for maybe a top hole or a broken branch or something like that. It pushes sap right out that because of all of that pressure inside the tree. So, does that make sense? It's actually the pressure changing inside the tree, the gases expanding and contracting. That's why we need that temperature. So those are, you guys nailed the temperatures. It's important for boosting good sap. Those are kind of like ideal temperature range. Awesome. Any questions on that? I know it's a kind of a tricky concept. Remember that Mr. Oliver was chasing the balloon? Because we were trying to see, does the balloon shrink when it goes outside? Because the gas was inside the balloon, things like that. But our experiment went a little haywire.
It was memorable.
Memorable, yes. Okay. So best times to tap. What did we discover were the best times to tap? Who was here?
It wasn't my group, but
Go ahead.
You want to tap January 18th, and then end May 25th.
Yeah, in that exercise, that might have been what we discovered was the best time. And what did we use to tell us when the dates were?
The average is in the book.
The temperature, yeah, the average temperatures, right? The high and the low temperatures. Okay, let's see. How the sap moves through the tree. Do you feel like we kind of covered that one? How sap is being made? We kind of got that one, right? Any questions? That date was what? Was the and so it's not always going to be this, but it happened to be a really late year, and that was like mid-May. Yeah. So this year, hopefully, it'll be a little bit different than last year. Tapping time, oh that's excellent, you guys have that right there. What time the trees will bud. Right, and that indicates when the trees are getting ready to bud, they'll swell, the buds will actually swell, and that tells you what? Is your season starting or ending?
Ending?
Ending, yeah. And you get this different flavor in this sap. And if I get any this year, I'm going to try to save it so you guys can see how it tastes different. It actually tastes kind of chocolatey, is what people say. Okay. So not in tree works. We got everything. Does anyone have anything else to add that we covered that we didn't talk about? I feel like that was a really good review. Okay. No questions, Mr. Oliver?
What I would just suggest is that we just take 4-5 minutes, and then the groups process what were the important nuggets of information that Corrie just went over. Is everybody on the same page? Is that fair? So especially those of you that were here last time, making sure that we're taking care of the people that are seeing Corrie maybe for the first time, making sure that we're all on the same page. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you got 5 minutes.
Great idea.
I want to hear great conversations.
Now, all of this information we've been talking about is all kind of like give us a little bit of background so that when we go out and tap the trees and we can look at what's happening inside the tree, how much sap you're getting, and connect it to some of the variables about weather that you guys are learning about this year. So I don't know how much you guys are going to have to help me a little bit. You talked about different variables that you might use in a study or research, if you're going to research a question about maple sugaring. But can you start to think of the types of variables? Who knows what a variable is in science? What would you say a variable is?
It's something you change. It's a different thing.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is like something that you can change within your study. So could you give me an example in terms of maple sugaring, thinking about the fact that you guys have a weather station? Okay, you have a weather station that does a number of things. You guys have started a project with snowpack, right? You started that? And collecting data on that?
I just learned how on Friday.
Excellent. Okay, so can you give me an example of a variable, something that you might change or look at a little bit more deeply, thinking about everything we've talked about in terms of weather and snowpack and maple sugaring and how they're related?
What the average temperature was, the year that you tapped.
Okay, average temperature. Great. That's a good variable.
Good variable, good variable. This is like Family Feud. Come on, somebody else.
Anyone else? Throw it up.
Good answer, good answer.
It's not necessarily a wrong answer here. We just
Kind of tree that you said.
right?
Yes.
Species, yeah. Yep.
Age of tree.
Ooh, tree age. Okay. Like that.
Tree height.
Tree height.
Ooh, good answer, good answer.
Whammies, no whammies. Yep. Yep.
Tree type?
Tree
Like what
type.
type of tree it is?
So we have
Oh,
species.
I see that.
Do you know that? Is that all you meant? Because sometimes
Yeah,
you could
that's
say. Okay, good. If that's what you
You,
meant.
you got the
Yes.
buzzer X. Sorry.
That's one strike.
That's a strike.
Yeah.
Tree type.
The competition.
So from the tree's neighbors. Ooh. So can I write that as nearest neighbor for the tree? Do you mean, so think about this. Do you mean in terms of sunlight? Do you mean in terms of its roots, availability of water? So it could go even deeper than that, but I like that a lot. Yeah.
The time of the year. that you-
Time. So can you be more specific? Like start date, end date? Or
The beginning.
okay, so tapping date. And yeah.
The tree thickness.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the diameter.
Ooh.
I
Ooh.
like it. I like it. Yeah.
Kind of like the size, like never deviate or with.
We should have like an excellence
Of the,
meter.
of the tree.
We should
So
have an
we
excellence
height
meter
and we
where you
have
guys are.
diameter. What else? Remember what I was mentioning something about the tree that we want to look at? When you go out and look at a tree, see how.
Kind of like how the branches go out.
Okay, good. How number of large branches? We'll do that. Or you know why I like that, Willow? Is because number of large branches gives me something quantitative, so that's kind of nice. Yeah.
How much sunlight or water the tree has available?
Did you say hours of sunlight?
Yeah.
And what was the second?
How much water the tree has for availability?
Water availability?
Yeah.
How could we measure that?
Our weather station does it.
Yeah.
But what is the weather station measuring?
How much rainfall would be?
Rainfall. Okay, good. So that might be like rainfall, snowfall, sleet, etc. Okay, precipitation.
Oh, because
right?
of
Yes.
Elevation.
yeah, that means we got to get the
soil
snow
type.
gauge, right? Because you're right. It doesn't measure snow. It measures
Soil type.
liquid rain. You're right.
Nice. That was something I looked at a lot in my research I've done. Yep.
Maybe where you tap on the tree.
Ooh.
Good
Where? Can you be more specific?
Like, low or high?
Okay, I'm gonna give you another hint to think about this. So I really like this, low or high, right? So what's something practical that we have to think about in terms of tapping?
Okay. Like, outside the gate.
Well, just what's outside there right now, right? Yeah. So something that's tricky when you go to tap is knowing, you don't always know how deep the snow is gonna be. So that doesn't mean you can't study it, but in terms of practical, there's a reason why we tend to tap higher, okay, on the tree. But there's something else that a lot of sugar makers do, which is to tap on a certain aspect of the tree. You guys know what I'm talking about? So when you're standing on the tree and looking at a tree, some people say moss grows on what side of the tree? Does anyone know that? The north side of the tree. Why? No one really. Does anyone have an idea why moss might grow on the north side of the tree? It's hard to know, but
It's colder, like weathers.
yeah. So the south side tends to get more sunlight. Okay? Now when we want the tree to thaw, because it's frozen, right? Remember that at night we're sugaring, the tree's frozen. What side might we want to tap if we want to tap the side that's going to thaw first?
Probably the side the sun is gonna be on.
Okay. So another thing to add to your, it was great on its own, but another thing is what aspect of the tree are you going to tap on, right? So are we going to do north, south, east, west? We could do the sunnier side, depending on if it's got a lot of neighbors, you know, things like that. Great. Yeah.
The location, like where you are, like if it's like out in a field or if it's on a hill.
Yeah. So we could call it either microclimate or also maybe its habitat. Is it a yard tree, right? Or is it a forest tree? Is it a riverbank tree? Anything like that. Great. Okay. You guys have done awesome here. Now, I'm going to ask you, so you started Friday measuring snowpack. Is that a variable? Right? So, inches of snow, right? So
Oh, come on, impress Corey. Instead of inches of snow, what would you guys really say?
Ounces.
Ounces.
Well, go further. Liam?
Water equivalent?
Water, you know what it is?
Or go further.
Ooh.
Landon, the density.
Oh.
Now, granted, you need the inches, you need the water equivalent to get to the density.
The density, right. So that's true, right? So you guys are looking at all those different variables. So those are all things. Now remember, sometimes one might tell you more than the other. So those are all things that you could be looking at. Everything else that's in your weather station, think of all the things that your weather station is measuring. All of those things can be on this list. All right? So those are all variables that are accessible to you guys that you can measure. And now comes the fun part. You get to think about what questions you have. So what questions